Welcome back to the Neutral Zone. Today we're going to be talking about the 2023 Louisville Cardinals season. Obviously a team that I was very high on early in the year. I predicted them having a really good record. But before we get into talking about them and their success, as always, if you're new to the channel, please like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss an upload. We have the big giveaway coming in a week from today, 9 p.m. Eastern next Sunday. Signed Heisman jersey. You have to be at the live in order to win that jersey. We also have the live show tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern, so come support. Come talk about the Deborah hiring, all the transfer portal, all that good stuff. We look forward to seeing you guys then. But, Dad, how do you feel about Louisville, and how do you feel about me being right about the Cardinals this year, man?
Oh, my goodness. The funny part is I actually was going to give you props until you kind of hyped yourself. No, but, yeah, you called it. You called it early. You called it in their preview video. You called it when we did our ACC preview video. And you've been saying it all season that you thought Louisville was going to be a good team. And they were 10-4, played in the ACC championship game. Jack Plummer had a good year on the ground, played very good defense. I don't know what you saw or how you figured this out. So honestly, this is one of those ones that I'm going to kind of kick to you because I really want to know what you saw in them early that made you feel good about them. Because yeah, you were right on the nose with your prediction.
So I mean, if you guys Louisville fans, hopefully you guys found this video again. I know a lot of you guys found the first preview we did, but really the main factor to me was how weak their schedule was. I didn't think they were a bad team, but I didn't think that they were as good as a Clemson. I didn't think they were as good as a lot of the other teams in the ACC, but I think their schedule favored them really well. And I think they won the games they were supposed to. I did not pick them to beat Notre Dame. So I was very surprising that they won that game. But I was surprised they lost to Pittsburgh. So it kind of evened out. But I just think when they brought over Jamari Thrash, Jack Plummer coming over from Cal as well, obviously new offensive mind in the coach, a veteran team when you talk about their linebacking core, when you talk about their running back room. So I just thought that the missing piece was really having that number one receiver, and you got that in Jamari Thrash, who had a really good season, almost 900 yards, 6 touchdowns. And then you have, like I said, Jack Plummer, who came over, who's a veteran quarterback, threw for 3,000 yards, 21 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, and an offense that really doesn't have a lot of weapons outside of the newcomer in Jamari Thrash, who came from a Group of 5 school. So it's not like he was proven himself when you're talking about ACC caliber play. But I just had a hunch, man. I just had a hunch that this team is going to be really good. Obviously, on the Neutral Zone, I try to be unbiased, but those uniforms are absolutely amazing. We talked about this in the previous series.
They do have really good uniforms. Yeah.
I really like the uniforms. Obviously, they're an Adidas school. I think they're the only Adidas school that I actually like uniforms.
Yeah, they're probably the best Adidas school in terms of uniforms.
Yeah, I think they have the best uniforms in college football. Obviously, Oregon has so many different options, but they're kind of washed out. But I think Louisville has a lot of good uniforms. But this is a really good year. I knew it was going to be either Louisville Clemson or Louisville Florida State in the not the national championship, in the AC title game. Obviously, it ended up being Florida State and not my Clemson Tigers, which I was upset about. But my prediction was right. I thought they were going to go to the AC title game. I just had a feeling. I thought that the way that their schedule was set up for the ACC without the divisions this year, they had a really good shot. They won the games they were supposed to, obviously losing to Pitt, but they also won the game against Notre Dame that I did not predict them to win. So kind of surprising there, but I mean, I think overall a really good year. Louisville fans should be ecstatic. They're obviously bringing over Tyler Shuck from Texas Tech. I know we mispronounced his name when we did the Texas Tech preview earlier in the year.
That don't look like no dang Shuck.
But yeah, they're bringing him over, obviously. And I'm kind of excited to see how they, perform next year. Let me pull up the schedule just for people.
Yeah. Who are watching. The only thing I say as you pull up the schedule, the only concerning part is they ended the season with 3 losses. So at one point in time, they were 10-1. They end the season with 3 losses. The only one that I think is concerning is you say that Kentucky loss. Although Kentucky was a pretty good team this year, that's a team and that's a game that Louisville, based off of how they produced the year prior to that game, should have been able to win. Florida State, you have some concerns only because at that point in time, Jordan Travis was out. But that still was a very good Florida State team. If you remember, for those of you who obviously tuned in to the football season, this is before all the opt-outs and sit-outs and transfers that happened in their bowl game. So that was still a very good Florida State team. And I've said one of the best defensive performances I've seen. Like I said before in the Ohio State video, and I'll continue to say in some other videos, bowl games that are not part of the playoffs, I don't really hold against teams too much again, because we can probably talk about the players that sat out, the level of effort. I don't hold those against teams, but my concern for Louisville is they had a great season, but that ended on a little bit of a decline.
Yeah, I mean, I think the 3 losses at the end of the season left the sour taste in everyone's mouth because I mean, although they lost the Kentucky game, it's a rivalry game. I don't think Louisville is a better team than Kentucky. Kentucky just has better players on their roster. They're an SEC team, a little bit more physical. I think a little bit more experienced as well. And then Florida State, like you said, although they didn't have Jordan Travis, they still had every other starter on that team because they were still they still had the intentions and the aspirations of getting to the playoffs. So none of those players sat. So that 60-point loss to Georgia is not the same Florida State team. And then we talked about the USC game. Obviously in that game, I don't know who sat out for Louisville. I want to be honest. I don't know who sat out for both teams. I know Caleb Williams didn't play. And we saw Miller Moss kind of shred apart the Louisville defense. But again, this could have been, without a couple of starters. Right. So I'm not going to hold that against them. Yeah, I'm not going to hold them against it either. But I think next year, just kind of briefly looking over their schedule, they do play Notre Dame next year. They do play Clemson. They play Miami. And they play Kentucky. That's pretty much it. So I would assume that this team is going to be pretty good next year as well. I don't think they're going to be in the ACC title game. I don't think they can go back to back in that regard. But I do think this could be an 8-4, 9-3 team next year. I expect them to kind of solidify themselves as a above average ACC team. I think that this team, not only with the way they kind of, even though they finished with 3 losses, they still finished the year with 10-3. If I'm not mistaken, they were 10-3.
Unless 10-4 overall. Okay, you take the bowl game into account.
Yeah, so they finished 10-4. It's a 10-win season. That's a very good season for Louisville. They really haven't been that good since they had the Heisman winner in Lamar Jackson. So I would,
and even that this is, I don't remember the record, but that Lamar season they won. Oh, I'm
pretty sure they had 10 wins as well. I think they had 10 wins. But I think if not 10, they had 9, but right around there.
I thought it was 9.
think. Yeah, I know they're going to get some good recruits based off of this. Obviously, with the transfer portal being what it is now, they have proven that they can bring, a less. I'm not going to say a less than talented, because Jamari Thrash was one of the best receivers in the ACC this year. He came from a less prominent school, and he came to, obviously Louisville was much more known, and he shined as the true number 1 receiver. So I think if they continue to kind of hit the nail on the head as far as transfer portal goes, build their recruiting classes, they could be a force in the ACC, especially when their when their schedule allows them to be. Like last year's schedule, again, I think if they would have had to play tougher teams like a Clemson, like a Florida State, I don't think they would have been able to make it to the ACC title game, but they didn't have to play either of those teams. So there was kind of, I'm not going to say a cakewalk, but it was catered for them to, walk their way to
be successful.
Yeah, because when the other teams are beating up on each other and you only have to play, a Duke who Riley Leonard was gone in that game. You win that game 23-0, but that's not the same Duke that beat a Clemson that was in a game against a Florida State. So I just think Louisville has a chance to replicate some of the success, but as of right now, I do not think they're going to be in the AC title game next year, but that's not a knock.
But as you looked, you're talking about 4 losable games, 4 games that you think that they may lose. That's another.
Well, it's hard though. It's hard because we don't know who's leaving. I know Plummer's gone.
No, good point.
I know Jawar Jordan has declared for the draft, who is their lead back.
Yes,
I'm not sure if Jamari Thrash is coming back or not.
They got Isaac, and I don't even want to try his last name because I'm sure I will screw it all up. But they have Isaac, who went for 800 yards rushing himself. So it's not like they're depleted in the backfield. They're bringing back some players. I mean, they're going to be a decent team. You already mentioned quarterback coming over again. Shuck, you said Shuck. I don't think that's what that says, but they got Shuck coming over. So they should be still a very formidable team.
I agree. I do think that their defense is very young. I don't think they're losing much on the defensive side of the ball. So that's probably going to be that's going to have to be the situation that kind of carries them, the side of the ball that carries them. Obviously, when we did our preview series, I had Quincy Riley on the thumbnail. I haven't heard anything about him, if he's going to declare or not. Louisville fans, please let us know in the comment section if he is. He's one of the better DBs in the ACC. But pretty much their entire defense is, has the ability to come back if they want to come back. I'll have to look a little bit more into them. Obviously, when we do the preview series, we're going to talk about departures, arrivals, all that good stuff, later in the summer. But overall, I think Louisville had a great season. Obviously, for me, they met my expectation for them of,
and you called it.
getting to those 10-win mark, getting to the AC title game. I didn't have them winning the AC title, but I did have them making an appearance. So really, them in Oklahoma, who we're going to preview tomorrow, I kind of want to talk about them too. But in this video, Louisville had a great season, so Louisville fans should be very happy. Obviously, during the preview series, we saw, I think that was one of our most viewed videos. So a lot of the subscribers that we have are Louisville fans. So I'm hoping they kind of see this video again, so they can see our take on it and what we think about them.
All right, hey, Louisville fans, I didn't know they had a following like that, but that's what's up.
Yeah, definitely. But thank you guys so much for sticking around. If you made it this far, please do us a favor, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Show up to the live show next Sunday to get a chance to win that signed Heisman jersey, and we will see you guys then. Peace out.